Hey everyone, today is day 2 of the Elul New Light Activation, and the theme of today is revealing your essential self. So we're going to actually start, or maybe I'll actually talk for just a minute to give people a chance to come on, and we're going to blow the shofar. So for those of you who are familiar with the shofar, it's a ram's horn. It's for thousands of years. It's been the tradition to blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah in every synagogue around the world, and also in homes. I'll talk about that in a minute. Before I do, I want to say again and again that you belong here regardless of what background you are from. Why? Because the Torah is the blueprint for creation, which means that it's divine wisdom and divine will, which means that if you exist in this universe and you're created by God, by the divine, the Torah is for you. The Torah is for everyone. Elul, redemption, is for everyone. And so is the third light activation. Okay, so the shofar, David's going to blow the shofar, my husband, in a moment. It's a custom to blow it amongst certain groups, including Chabad, every day of the month of Elul. The first day of the month of Elul is today. And the reason for that, and the reason why we blow the shofar on Rosh Hashanah also, is because the shofar represents the essence of who we are, and that's the theme of today. It's a cry, and whether you've heard it 1,000 times or whether you've never heard it before, I want you to listen, not with your ears, but from your heart, from your deeper self. Feel what it arouses in you. It's a tool of communication between the deepest level of your soul and God and your consciousness. So the shofar is blown every day during the day in the month of Elul, except the day before Rosh Hashanah, and then the main blowing, which crowns God as king, which we'll talk about further on in the month, that is on Rosh Hashanah. So David, if you would mind. Thank you. And feel free to come back and listen. We'll be doing this basically every day except for Shabbat for the next month from now to Rosh Hashanah. So I listen. I try to listen. You know, we can listen. There's a Hebrew word, kavanah, which means a direction and what we're intending to, intention really. And we can listen just again with our ears just because, or we can really listen. And the deeper you listen, and this isn't just the shofar, this is actually everything. The deeper you listen, the more of you that you bring present to actually hear and experience, whether it's what you're feeling, or whether it's what someone is saying to you, what's behind their words, or whether it's what's going on in the world as you're meditating, which I strongly recommend people to connect with themselves, or whether it's the shofar. The deep listening allows more of you to experience and more of you to be open from what you're listening to. And the shofar, the blow of the shofar is piercing. It pierces through the layers of the narrative that keep us stuck in our very, very limited sense of self, keep us from actually experiencing who and what we are, where we are, and what that's all about, and what's possible for us now. So that's what we're going to talk about probably on many of these conversations, but today I want to introduce the concept of Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. This is an acronym for the word Elul in Hebrew. I just did this little, make sure you can see it. In Hebrew, Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li, that's the transliteration. Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li. Ani means I. Really, it means the essential I. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. Ani is me. I. So that's what we want to talk about. So I said yesterday that in Elul, the king is in the field, which means that the creator is leaving the high heavens. Like the king is leaving the guarded, secluded, private, elite nature of the inner chambers of the palace, and not just coming out into a big room, leaving altogether, coming into the field, meaning coming into the earthly plane, meaning arousing the essence of divine compassion. That's what's happening here. God is inviting you to a meeting, and that meeting is going to take place throughout this month of Elul. So who is he inviting to the meeting? First of all, show up the way you are. When the king comes into the field, he's greeting us, the Torah says, with a smiling face, a happy face, a welcoming face. In other words, come and talk to me, come and connect to me. So God comes that far. By the way, I want to say, in case anybody here has an issue with the word God, I know that people have all kinds of background experiences, preconceptions, inherited, experienced. So I just want to say, quote a story from a great sage, lit Rabbi Yitzchak of Radishev, when a heretic came to him and said, I can't believe in a God who, causes suffering, who is so judgmental, whatever. The sage said to him, the God you don't believe in, I don't believe in either. Which is not to say that everything doesn't come from God, because the core truth of reality is Ein Od Milado. There's nothing here but the one. Where we relate, where we can connect to an extremely large degree, that depends on us. And that's really what Elul is about. So we're going to soon do an exercise. This is going to be shorter than yesterday. Most of it's going to be an actual experiential exercise where we're going to kind of get in touch with the real self, the deeper part of yourself. And then your fairy dust, your homework is going to be, I'll talk about that when we're done. In any case, the essence of Elul, this idea of Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li, I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me, this is a new way. It's a new level for humanity, for you and for me, if we choose to relate to God. Because most of the time since creation, the relationship with God may have been remote, may have been sort of non-existent from our end, may have been shame-laden, fear-laden, and Elul gives us the possibility to approach as closely as we can, so that when we finish the month and the shofar blows on Rosh Hashanah, that's the relationship that we have in seed form for the year, that we'll be able to unfold and live into throughout the year. So this idea, it's not an accident, that the month of Elul, Hebrew is the language of creation, and the world is created through the divine language, through speech, God's speech, the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which are channels, energy channels of creative divine energy, giving things shape and form and manifesting them, bring them into being. That's all of creation is created through speech, except for the inner soul of man, which was blown. Think about it. Speech is, you're moving your mouth. Breath is, as it says in the mystical texts, when you breathe from within yourself, you're breathing the inner. So that's the inner soul of man, not the levels of the soul. The innermost soul is divine breath. It's union. But the word, so when you look at any word in Hebrew, you can look at its letters. If you understand the letters, the meaning of the letters, then you can understand much more about what that thing actually is. It's like its blueprint. Letters are actually the inner blueprint, and they're the inner soul of everything that exists. So the word El, not by accident, is an acronym, Aleph Lamed, Vav Lamed, and it is the initials. If you know Hebrew, if you don't know Hebrew, it's the first letters of each of these 4 words. I, Ani, the essential self. Le, Dodi, am to my beloved. I approach my beloved, God. Vidodi, and my beloved is to me. It's not only that we approach, we belong to each other. But Elul is inviting every one of us into a different kind of relationship, a love relationship, a beloved relationship, an intimate relationship. And even though God comes out to the field, ready to approach, it's not hard to approach me. It's God, so to speak. Right? Not right now. Right now, my mercy, my compassion, my love is shining. But hey, it's a free choice universe. I'm here, I'm ready. Now you get to decide. You have these 30 days to decide what kind of relationship you want with me. And I'm here to tell you that that will in large part depend on what kind of relationship you have with yourself. So we all live inside of a narrative of self. Like, I am the type of person who this, I'm the type of person who doesn't that, you know, I succeed at this, I'm good at this, I'm bad at that. And most of the time it's not even a narrative about what and who we are in an essential sense, but it's compared to, like, I am prettier than this one, uglier than that one, thinner than this one, better than that one, smarter than this one, stupider than that one, richer than this one, poorer than that one, more successful than this one, less successful than that one. And you know, through the images that we have, and from magazines, from TV, from our upbringing, just the way that we think as humans, our identity is like a story that exists inside of this constant comparison. So we're constantly sending out a kind of radar, sonar, to try to get feedback on whether I'm good or bad, am I better or worse, am I, you know, and that's in comparison to others, which is one of the reasons why, by the way, we tend to like to put other people down, because it gives us some sense of, like Yertle the turtle, you know, of having something that negates the core shame that's part of the collective narrative since the fall from the Garden of Eden. So in order to approach God in a love relationship, you're going to need to actually work on revealing your essential self, that on me. So that's what we're going to spend a few minutes just touching on now. We have 30 days or so to get to deeper and deeper levels, should you choose to participate. So let's just close our eyes. And I just want to say, beginner's mind. If you've done things like this before, who cares? If you've heard the shuffle before, hear it deeper. If you've been in touch with deeper levels of yourself, get in touch with deeper levels. Because guess what? You're infinite relative to the physical world. Meaning you exist, in a sense, in every part of everything. Every person's soul contains the entire universe. So where are you in your deepest sense? Let's just see how far we can get. And our goal as finite beings is to connect to and to create vessels for, like we talked about yesterday, more and more, deeper and deeper levels of self, so that we can co-create more profoundly, so that we can gain more intimacy with God. I said we're going to go inside. Just one more second. I want to say that one more thing about this idea of I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. This is our job to initiate, although truthfully God is out there, as I've said, in the field, waiting, inviting. But this is where free choice comes in. And as the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, don't wait. You want a new relationship with God, not totally thrilled with the one you have so far, or the way your life is turning out? Don't wait for signs. We'll talk about this in other future lives throughout the 30 days. But if you base what you intend and try to create in the future, the present and future, if you base it on the past, you're done already. You're done already. You can't, that's not co-creation. That's simple fear-based repetition. So co-creation has to come from a vision of the future, from a desire. Do you desire to have a different relationship with all there is, with divine consciousness, with Hashem? Do you desire that? If you do, don't wait. Don't wait. Live into it. Okay, so let's just get a little more in touch. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And just allow your body to relax. Allow it to sink into allow yourself to sink into your chair. Feel a delicious, gentle heaviness. Almost like a heavy, lovely, caressing liquid pouring onto your head from the top and just down your arms, your torso, front and back. Obviously over your face and neck, down your torso, arms, legs, into your feet. And feel the support of the chair and the floor that it's on, and the foundations of the building, and the strength of solid ground of earth. pushing actively against you so you can completely relax and let go, supporting you. You are supported. Now I want you to imagine that the mind is a big, big screen, like the old projector screens, or like a giant movie screen, just stretching all the way across your awareness. I want you to notice anything that comes across that screen. So that would be words, images. We're going to take a little time. So I'm just going to hold this space while you do that. Notice what you notice. And just whatever is going on, make sure it gets projected onto the screen. All thoughts, all images, all words. And just notice if there are lots and lots and lots, how fast are they going across? Or if there's any space in between, even a tiny space, in between words or thoughts. So I want you to just notice that. And now watch and listen for even the tiniest space between the words or thoughts. So again, we'll have a little silence for this. I invite you to notice, if you did notice space between the thoughts, to ask yourself, what is in that space? And also, as you are watching the thoughts and images go across the screen, who's watching? So let's just close our eyes a moment again, if you open them, and ask that question, who is watching? Continue to watch. Everything goes on the screen. Notice spaces in between. Who is watching? Who is watching? And just notice if anything shifts for you or opens for you. Do you feel any tingling? Do you feel any deepening, any expansion? If you feel anything uncomfortable, as sometimes people do when they are not used to this, then you want to watch that. Where do you feel it in your body? Project it onto the screen. Notice, watch for any spaces. Who is watching? And as you do this, I want you to allow yourself to become aware. This is just an allowing, sinking in, not a pushing, not an imagining, just an allowing that there's divine love and smiles. Divine love and smiles and invitation all around you, in front of you, behind you, beneath you, above you, to the sides, all around. As if you're relaxing into a space of divine love and smiles as you're watching all the thoughts and images on the screen. Okay, and just in your own time, gently take a few deep breaths and notice what you experienced. If you feel like sharing it in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, love to see what you have to share. And if you did not, if you experienced nothing but racing thoughts and images, just here's an exercise for you that you can practice over the next whatever day or so. Imagine, try it again, and imagine yourself taking a psychic step backwards and watching yourself watching the screen. And if you want, you can take an additional psychic step backwards and watch yourself watching watching the screen. And the question I want to leave you with based on this is, who are you? Who's the watcher? Who's the experiencer? Who's the generator? We're not going to come up with an answer in words. It's just a question. We want to hang with the question. Our minds, when we turn our minds up like a bowl to receive, as opposed to the constant knowing, categorizing, opinion giving, judging, just, when we turn our minds up like a bowl to receive, new things can come into the mind. So that's what I suggest for you for this. Your fairy dust for this session is to hang out with that question, who are you? And to practice feeling the space, perceiving the space between the thoughts, or stepping back and watching yourself watching. And just notice the difference between this space and the space of daily living, where the little voice is constantly chattering, constantly comparing, constantly judging, constantly giving opinions. So I want to be more in touch with that essential, quieter self, which can show up in so many different ways, especially once we start to let the narrative go. I think that we're going to leave it at that. Now I actually, I had another visualization in mind and another fairy dust, but I'm just checking with myself and see if I should share one more step. Okay, so you know what? Since we're not going to be meeting on Shabbat, once you're comfortable with this, I want to invite you to ask yourself the question, how has my story of myself kept me from moving into what I truly desire? Just notice. Yesterday we were looking at the ways that we think, the ways that we feel, our emotional responses, what they're causing for us. Now let's look at our stories about ourselves. How is your story about yourself? How has it affected you? What opportunities does it get you to step into? Which ones does it keep you from stepping into? And extra credit, you can ask yourself, when did you first start telling yourself this story? Like looking for the seminal events in your life where you first realized, in my case, where I first realized that I was clueless, that everybody else understood what was going on in this world, and I didn't, and that there was no one to help me. That was my early story. So what's your story? And compare and contrast the story, the ani, the essential self, and then what has been the consequence. So you want to open up more and more of the ani so that you can approach Hashem in a new way. All right, that's it for today. We'll meet on Sunday, same time, for day 4. So for day 3, when we're not actually going to be meeting, it's Shabbat. And I want to just speak to that very briefly. The energy of Shabbat, everything has a special divine energy and potential, like Elul has this potential of moving into a love relationship with God, revealing your true self, creating new vessels, rectifying the past, preparing for the future in a way that will align you with your soul's purpose, align you with the divine plan out of love, out of love. That's what the potential is here. So Shabbat has a particular divine energy that allows for us to step into the reality, a dimension of reality where kol malachta asuya, where all of the work is already done. So that instead of thinking about all of the failures of the past and all the struggles to create a future we want, we just simply let go of all of that and step into a space of divine perfection where everything's already been done enough. And that's the perfect place to really step into that love relationship with God and with yourself. Compassion for yourself. If you can't feel love, it's not easy to be a human. And in that energy, to connect in prayer, to connect in Torah learning, regardless of your background, the Torah is for everyone. Redemption is for everyone. There's only one creator, and all of us are part of that creation project, each in our own way. I want to up-level that, each of us in our own way, as much as we can throughout the 30s. Okay, so for Shabbat, for today, you're going to be looking at the story, practicing the moments between the gap, or perceiving, watching yourself, and looking at what opportunities you have failed to step into, or perhaps erroneously stepped into based on your narrative. I want you to look at how much you're comparing yourself to others and how much that story is alive in the inner voice. Shabbat, when Shabbat comes in, you just want to connect directly to the realm where it's already done. Like, what if you were already in this love relationship? What if all your prayers were already being answered? What if the world was already transformed? And what if Shabbat is a bubble of out of time and out of space, another dimension where it can align with that future reality? When we emerge from Shabbat, it's going to be manifested as the world's reality. So in the 6 days of the week, we act. In the 7th day of the week, we let go and connect. Not that we're not connecting every day, but let go and connect. We celebrate the union. We move into the intimacy in whatever ways we can. Again, prayer and Torah learning are outstanding ways. If you happen to be a Jewish woman, I suggest lighting the candles before sundown, must be before sundown on Shabbat, with the blessing that you can find by Googling it, blessing for the Shabbat candles. Very, very powerful. It literally brings divine light into the world to supercharge the coming Shabbat. Every week, it gets supercharged more. Light never disappears from the world. The holy light, light of holiness, never disappears from the world. It just accumulates. Darkness can cover it, like clouds cover the sun, but as soon as the darkness is blown away, that brilliant light just shines more and more and more. So nothing's ever lost. All right, I'm going to end with that. Shabbat shalom to everybody, and we'll see you on Sunday. Take care.